You finally get a free evening. Nothing is urgent, and the hours ahead belong entirely to you. But the moment you sit down, the room somehow feels intensely crowded by your own expectations. You look at the unfinished book staring at you from the coffee table. You think about the workout you've been meaning to start. These are choices that are supposed to make life lighter, brighter, and happier. Yet looking at them carries the exact same heavy anxiety as a stack of unfinished homework. You tell yourself you'll finally allow yourself to relax, after you check just a few more productive boxes. You spend the next 3 hours frozen on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through your phone, not productive, but not resting either. You finally got the free time you wanted, so why does it feel like work? A lot of adult life seems to work this way. A walk becomes a step count, reading becomes self-development, sleep becomes recovery tracking. Even rest starts applying for a promotion. Think about the dialogue running through your mind on a regular Tuesday afternoon. There is a specific, cold voice pacing around your mind with a clipboard, reviewing your choices and grading your existence. This week was a waste. I need to be more disciplined. Without realizing it, part of us is giving the orders, and part of us is trying to keep up. This isn't entirely our fault. We live in a cultural moment where technology allows us to quantify the invisible parts of being alive. Sleep, steps, attention, and even breathing can now be tracked, graphed, and scored. But one of the quiet traps of human nature is that the moment a metric becomes measurable, we subconsciously try to make it a target. You aren't listening to a podcast to enjoy a conversation. You are auditing it to extract data for your personal growth. This explains why we can feel completely exhausted after a day that looked relatively calm on paper. Physical effort isn't the only kind of effort. The exhaustion isn't metaphorical, it's chemical. Your nervous system doesn't perfectly distinguish between a real external boss standing over your desk shouting deadlines and a silent internal voice doing the exact same thing from inside your head. When your inner dialogue spends the day calculating failures, your brain triggers the same stress response as if you were in actual danger. You are running a hypercritical workplace inside your own skull, running a marathon in a chair. Many of us get here with entirely good intentions. We look at where we are and we feel a quiet internal panic, thinking, I just need to get my life together. The harder we tighten our grip, the more exhausted we become. We try to police every single detail because we are terrified of what will happen if we sit still with our own thoughts. Behavioral science has noticed something surprisingly consistent. The moment we turn something we genuinely enjoy into a performance metric, it often becomes less enjoyable. You used to walk because the air felt good. Now you walk because a watch ring demands compliance. You used to read because you loved stories. Now you read because an app tells you you're behind schedule. The internal supervisor turns a gift into a debt. When you force compliance, a part of you begins to resist. You think you sleep late, eat poorly, or freeze on the couch because you are lazy or lack discipline. But when your entire day is scheduled and nothing is ever enough, what looks like lack of willpower can sometimes be a desperate, messy attempt to reclaim a single moment of autonomy over your own life. When you turn your life into a checklist, you break the relationship with yourself. It's incredibly hard to be present when part of your mind is always asking what comes next. The next task, the next milestone, the 5-year plan. The more time you spend checking whether you're experiencing a moment correctly, the less time you actually spend inside it. And because you are constantly under review, your own mind starts hiding the truth from you. We mask our sadness, our confusion, or our exhaustion because we don't tolerate unproductive emotions. We fake being okay to our own minds. A friendship would instantly die under these exact conditions. Imagine having a friend who ended every single conversation by reminding you how much work you still had left to do, how far behind you were, and how much better you could be. But while you can hand a resignation letter to a toxic boss, you cannot hand one to your own brain. You are stuck in the exact same room with that voice forever. We turn ourselves into a permanent project because we genuinely believe that if we finally fix enough pieces, we will become someone worth being close to. But a person is not a project. The walk, the workout, and the discipline are not the enemies. The exact same habit can either be an act of care or an act of self-rejection. When you miss a morning routine, that underlying agreement dictates how you feel. You either think, "I've been busy, I'll try again tomorrow," or you think, "Of course I failed, I always do." The workout isn't what determines how your day feels. The performance review that follows does. Because being understood and being monitored are two entirely different things. And you cannot find rest in a place where you are always being watched. If you finally found the words for how you feel today, welcome. New reflections are shared every Sunday. Feel free to stay a while.